Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Seth, psychologist with Couch Commentary. When I do Couch Commentary, I talk about something that's going on in the culture, sometimes in pop culture, from a psychological perspective. I think a lot of times there are things that happen in pop culture that we can look at, and actually, our reactions to them can actually tell us a lot about ourselves, can actually be a window in part into who we are. And so this week, I came across some news in the culture that I thought was especially interesting. So, the very, very successful multi hyphenate Kim Kardashian. Well, she revealed recently that she is waiting for the results from the bar exam that she took. So, many people have heard, it's been covered extensively in the media, that Kim Kardashian has been studying to become a lawyer. And in California, there is a sort of non traditional alternative route that one can pursue instead of going to law school. And that's following an apprentice program. It requires a certain number of years and hours apprenticing with a licensed attorney. And Kim Kardashian has followed that route and been working on it for years. Then at a certain point, the individual, in this case, Kim Kardashian, takes the baby bar exam. That's sort of the colloquial name that it's called. And she took that multiple times, I understand, and then finally passed it. And then once you pass, you continue on in the apprentice program. And then you finally start studying for the bar exam, and then you take the bar. Well, so Kim Kardashian recently shared that she took the bar exam in July, which is notoriously known, California's bar exam, as one of the most difficult in the country. And she is waiting for the results. This is enormous. You can only imagine the scores of individuals who took the July California bar exam, how many hours, hundreds, thousands of hours they spent studying for that, the degree of anxiety, imagine that they must feel. Hopeful, I'm sure, and yet also very scary because the idea, right, of failing and having to take that again, one can only imagine how many more hours of study that must involve. Well, here's how it's relevant psychologically. There has already been a lot of online chatter, people talking about the fact that Kim Kardashian is waiting for the results. I believe she has her new show coming back, and a lot of people have commented on the fact that she seems to have tied a new season of her television show with this news that certainly will be reported around the world because she is such a well-known figure, and people reported, the media reported so much on just her failing initially the baby bar exam and then when she ultimately passed it. So what will happen? Will she pass? Will she fail? Here's how I think that it matters psychologically and reflects something about who we are. Most people in California who pass the bar exam, the vast majority go to law school. The vast majority have to slug it out through law school, which is notoriously known as something that takes many, many, many hours, years, costs a ton of money, takes a lot of time. I'm sure there are parts of it that are very monotonous, a lot of parts that people don't like. The idea of somebody who has financial resources doing a version that is far more streamlined, but still possible if you can make it work, that is something that people may have strong feelings about. But the question is this: when you hear about someone who takes on an enormous challenge, when you hear about someone who puts in hours and hours and hours and hours to apprentice, to study first for the baby bar exam multiple times, and ultimately pass it, to think about someone who studies, think about the hours spent studying for the bar exam. When you think about someone, and in this case, it's Kim Kardashian who's doing this, taking it, do you wish for them success? Do you hope that she passes? Do you wish her well? Or are you someone that actually feels like, no, you assign a lot of negative traits to someone like her doing this? You think that maybe she doesn't deserve it. You think that maybe she didn't do the route that everybody else takes, so it's somehow unfair. The question is, at the end of the day, do you tend to be more of a cheerleader for people? This is somebody, Kim Kardashian in this case, who had a dream. Are you someone, first of all, who zooms out and can see the big picture? When you hear about a story like this, when you think about someone like Kim Kardashian and the way that she came to fame, and as hard as she has worked to create a business empire and been incredibly successful, there is no doubt that this is a woman who has a lot of different strengths and is very resilient. When you see someone like this who takes on a challenge, like trying to become a licensed attorney and following these different steps to do it, you see someone who has a dream, someone who identified a very, very big dream they had for themselves, for their life. Yes, someone who already has had an incredible amount of success, but then actually dreamed a new dream to become an attorney. When you think about someone like that, someone who has a dream, do you wish for them that that dream can come true? When you hear about somebody who has a dream, are you somebody who, when you see and hear the dreams of others, do you tend to nurture that? Do you tend to become a cheerleader for them? Do you want good things to happen for people? Do you want something good to happen for someone who takes on a dream and not just a dream and just waits for something good to happen, but spends hours, hundreds, if not thousands of hours working towards a goal? Do you respect that? Do you respect having a dream and then putting in the work towards trying to make that dream come true? So, in that way, you can see how you may feel about this particular issue. Whether Kim Kardashian passes the bar exam or fails the bar exam, you can see that it does actually reveal something about you. If Kim Kardashian were to fail, ask yourself this: what would you think? How would you feel? Would you think to yourself, well, at least she tried? Is this someone that you would give credit to for trying? Again, for having a dream and putting in the work. Okay. Or is this someone that you would say, negative things about and they shouldn't have tried? They should have known better. You took a non traditional route. Of course it wasn't going to happen. So when someone is down and when somebody doesn't get what they want and what they've worked towards and they're upset about it, of course, do you tend to have empathy for them? Do you tend to feel bad for them? Do you tend to give them credit for trying? Or do you tend to assign negative attributes to them? Do you see the situation as negative and then look at that person more negatively? Or do you tend to look at the situation positively? My hope for all of us, I think that people serve themselves better and others better to really want the best for people, to be cheerleaders for people. Also, if you are someone who tends to think negative things, who tends to attribute negative labels to other people when bad things happen to them, guess what you might be more likely to do psychologically when something bad happens to you? Attribute negative things to yourself too. So, if you want to treat yourself best, it can also help to treat others best too, to try to think about others in a positive light, to want what's good for others. And yes, that even can include someone like Kim Kardashian, someone who is a celebrity, someone who already has had incredible success. But why not? How much does it really cost us to want something good for someone, to want something good for everyone, especially those who work towards it? And ultimately, and I'll close by saying this: having a dream and working towards it is something each one of us would serve ourselves well to do. All right? I'm Dr. Seth, psychologist with Couch Commentary.